guys, Di here from Di's Den, and welcome to Wowza Wednesday for November 2025. Now I know I have not put that on the front of this card very straight at all. I don't know where my brain was when I did this one, but this was the card I made called a Z Fold block card. So it stands up like this, and all of these little blocks inside actually have different things. It says very merry peace, joy and kisses, and a lovely Merry Christmas, and a few bits on paper. This was all done with retired products. On the back it says Santa Paws is coming to town, and I've got a cat and a dog. So that's the card we're making, but we're actually using, I'm going to make a birthday card. I need a birthday card because I have a birthday coming up, and I thought I would do this as a lovely birthday card. So let's pop that out of the way and we'll show you what we're using. So I'm using birthday celebrations. This, I believe, is in the retiring or last chance. It may have already gone. I'm not sure. These are the party dots. I don't know why I've got all these hearts all stuck all over it, but there you go. We've got all hearts stuck all over that one. So we're going to use those party dots, and we are going to use traditional labels for the label, which I used this label here. So when you cut this out, you get a cut line around the inside here as well. It's joined only where these squiggly bits are. So I've actually cut that off, and so I've stamped on a white one, and then I've put a blue one around the outside. I will show you what I mean in a second. Let's pop those out of the way. And we are only going to stamp happy birthday out of that set there. Alright, so let me show you what I mean. This was the white one, and this is the outside of it. So I actually trimmed it just where these little, that's where it's only stuck. So you can see this one is not. And I cut another one in the blue, and I glued that on top of that. So we've used the Make-A-Wish for that. So that piece I don't need anymore, but I'll hang on to it because you never know when you might have another colour and you want a white one behind it. So for our main card, let's go on to with that. This is 11 1/4 by 5 7/8. Then you're going to need 4 pieces of card for your first layer that measure 5 5/8 by 3 1/2. Then you're going to need, and I'm using 2 different kinds of designer series paper, so I'm going to use that for the inside and this one for the outside. That's pretty on that side too, but I like that paper, so that one, well, that's just pretty too, but it doesn't go with that. So this paper measures 5 3/8 by 3 1/4 inches. So you need 3 pieces of designer series paper, and you need another one that measures 5 3/8 by 3 1/4, which is your writing panel. Then for your blocks on the inside, you need 3 pieces of card that measure 6 inches by 1 1/2 inches. And then you need, for your blocks, which I've done some of these, so just bear with me, come here, that measure 1 1/4 by 1 1/4, and then 6 pieces that measure 1 by 1. And then I have put on top of these, and I've put a few. This paper had small cakes on it. They were just a little bit bigger than 1 by 1 inch, but I just thought they still looked nice, so I used those for that one. And then I've used a 1 inch square piece, and these pack came with some ephemera sheets, so I've actually using a couple of those. And then my mum had, and I think I've told you before, she had a lot of what in Australia we call peel-off craft sheets, which usually come in silver or gold. Some of them come in different other colours as well, and they have words on them or butterflies and things like that. So I used the Just For You on that. I've got glue all over my fingers, look at that. And I use a butterfly for the other one, so you need them. And then I have one of these large ephemera pieces out of the pack. So I'll show you what the pack looked like. So if it's still available, you could hopefully get some. This is called Wildflower Birthday, and it's a 12 by 12 sheet pack, and I've used quite a lot of this pack, believe it or not. It came with all these beautiful sheets, so this is the one we're using, and that's sort of soft sea foam on the inside there and on the back. This piece is, that looks like pool party. This one looks like pool party on that side and as well. This one's a bit more pink and bluey. It's got gold through it. Then you've got a couple of sheets that look like tags, all sorts of things, with flowers on the back, which I don't actually like the back of that one very much, but that's the paper where I cut out a couple of the small Christmas birthday cakes from, and then that's the paper we're using, and then that's the other one, and then you've got all that. You had 2 sheets of ephemera. So I actually break them all out. Oops, that one fell out, and pop them in these cases so that I can pop this case in with the paper, and I know it's together, so that I know where it is, and they don't all fall apart then all over the place, flying around in the packet. So that's what we're using. So let's pop that out of the way. I've got to just try and get this glue off my finger. It's annoying me. So let's pop those up there, and we're going to do our scoring first. So we're going to score our main card along the long side. Let me move this so I can actually read this. At 3 3/4 of an inch. I need the small ball. 3 3/4 of an inch. And 7.5 inches. Or you could go 3 3/4 inches, turn it, if you don't have a long enough board, 3 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so that's our main piece. Then for my other pieces, we're actually going to score these pieces at, let me see, did I write it down or not? Yes, 1.5, 3, and 4.5. We're going to do that on all 3 of them. So 1.5, 3, and 4.5. And once again, 1.5, 3, and 4.5. Oop, 4.5, not 4. Let's turn that over. If you do that, if you turn it over and gently rub the opposite way, you can actually pop that out really nicely, and it won't get seen very well. Alright, so once we've done that, we can then pop this away, out of the way. Now I'm going to show you what I did for my card. So we're going to fold our card so that the first fold is a mountain fold, and our second fold is a valley fold. By doing that, you're then going to have your card sitting nice and flush like so. Mountain, valley. Give it a good squash out. Okay, so we'll pop that out of the way for a minute, and then we're going to bring in our pieces, and we're going to fold these at the centre score line, at 3.5 score line on all 3 of them. Now I found that you needed to trim off just a smidgen on this open edge. Okay, on this open edge. So I brought in my trimmer, and we're going to move the other blade out of the way, which is the scoring blade, and I'm going to pop this in so that this open edge is just along the edge of this grey or brownish colour piece, like so. So just covering it, bring it down and chop that off. So all you're cutting off is that tinsy, linsy, wincy little bit on both sides. So we can do that again. Now you can do that singularly, or you can do it double like I'm doing it. So we just want to cut off that smidgen. You'll find that the main card will actually close a lot easier if you do that. I didn't do that on my first one here, and I will show you what I mean. If you can see inside here, it's not very easy, you can see that it actually overlaps and it sticks up. So by doing that, you're actually cutting off that tiny bit so that this doesn't go over that score line in the middle. So once you've done that, you can then fold and burnish those ones. If you've got a bit of a fray edge, you can give that a bit of a clean up, and I'll show you what I do for that. Like from this edge, it's a bit frayed. I just use an emery board, and that cleans it up. So you can do that on your pieces if you feel that you need to. It's a great way if you've run out of blades and you're waiting for new ones to come as well. You can still keep crafting, and you just need to be aware that I need to buy new blades. So I'm just doing that. Mine is not because I use new blades, it's because I actually did 2 sheets at the same time. Okay, so once we've done that, that's great. We can pop them out of the way and we can bring in our main card now. Alright, so for my main card, I have my 4 pieces of layer 1. And the other one's for the back, so that can go with that for my writing panel. And then my pieces for the front and my insides. So I'm going to pop them up on glue and then glue them to those sections. Let's see, let's hope my glue is going to work today. I was having a little bit of problem with it the other day, but we'll see. I've just filled it up and it feels very, very tight, but it's taken a while to come out. There we go. Now if you've got a directional paper, just be aware of that. You need to make sure that your paper is in the portrait style. So if you're using, like me, 2 different designer series papers, just make sure that you put the correct one in the correct place. So I'm using the really pretty flowery one on the front and these ones with the leaves on the back. Seems a shame to cover up this beautiful gold paper, but it was the subtleness that I wanted for the inside. And this paper doesn't have a direction, which is really great, so I can just pop it inside either way up. Okie dokie, so we've done our 3 panels. I'm going to just go this way. I don't know if that's got a right or wrong way, so I'll just turn it around just in case it did. I don't think it does. So we've got all of those panels on. So what we're going to do next is we're actually going to do our writing panel on the back and pop that on. So I'm going to be stamping, and I did my front stamping in Blueberry Bushel, so I'm going to do the back stamping in the same colour. I'm just putting the happy birthday in the middle here, like so. And we don't need it anymore. Then we can then make sure that's dry, yep. Pop this onto the back of the card. And you have your writing panel. Oops. Okay, for my writing panel, because this is like this, I'm going to put it in the centre because it will then balance the card out a bit as well. So, and just make sure if you've got a directional paper, you turn it over so you can put your saying on the back, your message writing panel, put it around the right way. You don't want to put it upside down. And making sure once you've done that, that you put it around the correct way for the front. Okay, so we're going to bring in our pieces here. And I'm actually going to glue these into place before I actually put my squares on, because what I want to do is I want to be able to mix and match these wherever. So that one needs to be stuck on. Let's glue these all together first so that that's done. As I say, these are a little bit bigger than the 1 inch square because of the shape of the birthday card, but everything else is the right size. So I'll pop that one onto there, and the same with this one. We'll stick this one onto here, but I don't want to glue these on until after I've got the card together, so that I can mix them and match them wherever I want them to go. Okay, so let's pop that into the middle of that one, like so. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to glue these so that this middle score line is right on that score line there. Okay, so we want to put this one so that this edge here, the top edge, is level with the top of the designer series paper. So we're going to put glue onto one side and glue onto the other side, like so. Fold them shut like that. Line this score line up here with this score line up in the middle here, and the top of the paper with the top of the designer series paper. By doing that, we can then lift that up a tiny bit and give them a good push down. And that will then give you that box shape. So we're going to do exactly the same again. We're going to fold these over, and we're going to pop this one in, lining it up at the bottom. Bring that one in, line that up at the bottom with the bottom of the designer series paper, and the middle score line with the middle score line here. And that, we can then lift that up a bit, and we can then pop that down like so. And then with the middle one, we want to put that so that it's even between the two. So once again, we're going to put some glue onto our little tabs, either side. And then lining this score line up once again with that score line in the middle, and trying to make sure that the gap between here and here is the same or as close as it can be. If you really want to measure it, you can. I don't think it's really that necessary, but there you go. I'm just going to give them a good rub down on the corners now, right on these score lines, so that we know that it's all nice and pushed down. And then we can open it up and we can see that that's our inner card, and it will fold up nicely, where when I did my other one, because these here, you can actually see them here, they were actually touching each other and it just didn't fold, it bent over at that spot. So now we can lay this flat and we can work out where we want to put our saying. So we want to put that one just there, and my butterfly here. Let's think, that one there, that's upside down. Let's pop that up the correct way. So that's how I'm going to put mine on there, I think. that they look nice like that. So I'm going to glue those all into position while the card is flat. Now we don't want to put anything on the inside with dimensionals, because if you do that, you're actually going to create too much bulk on the inside of your card, and the card will not lay flat for posting. So it's entirely up to you, but if you're going to hand deliver, you could do that. But if you're not going to hand deliver, then I think laying them flat is the best way, because we're going to put things up on dimensionals on the front, but we're not going to put it all up on the inside. So just make sure you got your flowers up the correct way if you're putting flowers on. I think these colours go beautifully together. The Night of Navy in the flowers here. Along with the soft sea foam between. So once we've done that, I can give them all a nice press down once more. And we can see that it's going to sit up beautifully on the inside of our card. So when a card is open, you can see that. How gorgeous does that look? Alright, so while that's flat, we are now going to do the front of our card. So I'm actually going to put all of this, I don't need that piece, but we'll hang on to that. I'm going to pop that up on dimensionals and that up on dimensionals. So let's put some along the bottom. I'm going to use some of these little ones for along the very bottom. Whoops, I'm actually going to have to cut some of these little ones in half. Oh, I've already got some cut in half. There you go. So I'm going to pop that one there and that one there, so for the bottom. And then we'll bring in the big, oh excuse me, I've got itchy nose. Bigger ones. Alright, so that's going to sit up there. Then we're going to put some onto this one as well. Now I'm going to just put a couple of small ones on the edge, because I will actually put a little bit of glue along that edge so that sits on that, I think. Or no, it just goes below it. So I'm actually going to just put some on here. So okay. So let's pop this up here. That's my little ones. Come off the back paper. Oh, there we go. It wasn't easy to get the paper off the back of those half pieces. Let me get rid of those half pieces, they're stuck to my finger. Come on. I had to cut my fingernails the other day because they were starting to get so long I couldn't do anything indoors even with them. So now they feel like they're too short. So we're going to pop our birthday cake on the top here, like so. And then we'll pop our little saying, our sentiment tag. Come off. Thank you. Down the bottom here saying make a wish. And then we'll bring in some of our pretty things, and we will use these pink ones, I think, because this being pink, I think they're going to just look perfect on it. So we're going to pop them on the card, not on the table. I think that one will be nice there. I might even put some of these yellow ones, a couple of these yellow ones on here. So I've got an odd number still. And that's the card. So what do you think? I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I love it, the way it's turned out, and I think with the person that's going to get this card is going to love it too. It is a tiny bit bulky. That's why you wouldn't want to put any more layers on the inside. It's not hugely bulky, but it is a little bit because you've got these layers here on the inside of the card. But that's today's card. It's called a Z Fold block card, and it sits up like so. Let me put that one like that so you can actually see it, and I'll bring in the Christmas one and do exactly the same. You can actually see the way that sits like so. If you've enjoyed today's card, and I hope you have, even with my blunder in the middle, I'd love you to leave me a comment. I'd love you to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of my other projects. If you'd like the written tutorial for this, you can head down below here to Di's Den for Stamping, Crafting and Tutorials. That's my Facebook group. In my Facebook group, you do have to be a member to access anything in there. Once you become a member, all my tutorials are free, and you do have to answer the question to become a member of the group. Now, if you don't answer the question, I'm sorry, you don't get to be part of the group. So I hope you've enjoyed Wowza Wednesday for November 2025, and I will see you again on Sunday with a lovely project. Bye for now.